We're counting down the 10 weirdest facts about Tom Cruise, ranging from extreme stunt dedication and offbeat personal habits to international honors and Hollywood's strangest coincidences. Some entries reveal jaw-dropping risks, and others expose pop culture secrets you have never heard. Which fact tops the list as the most unbelievable? Let's get started with number 10. Tom Cruise doesn't just play action heroes. He pushes his own limits far beyond what most actors would ever attempt. For Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, he trained for weeks with freediving experts to pull off an underwater heist scene that demanded a single continuous breath hold. The final tally was 6 minutes and 30 seconds underwater, with no cuts, no hidden oxygen, and no stunt double. That is over 13 times longer than the average person can hold their breath. Cruise prepared using apnea tables, which are timed breath hold drills used by elite freedivers, and he practiced segmented breathing to fill every part of his lungs. The film's safety team monitored his heart rate and oxygen levels throughout, ready to intervene at the slightest sign of trouble. According to production interviews and reports from Vox Cinemas and The Hollywood Reporter, this feat pushed even professional trainers to admit they had rarely seen anything like it on a movie set. For most people, attempting a stunt like this without expert supervision is dangerous, so do not try this at home. Dangling upside down above a pressure-sensitive vault floor, Tom Cruise faced a problem even his stunt team could not solve. Every time he tried to hover inches above the ground for Mission Impossible's now iconic ceiling drop, Gravity 1, his face kept smacking the floor, ruining take after take. The rigging team adjusted wires, shifted harnesses, and added padding, but nothing worked. Cruise, determined to nail the shot himself, improvised a fix from plain physics. He slipped British pound coins into his shoes, creating just enough counterweight to balance his body horizontally. Stunt coordinator Greg Powell later called it a moment of pure ingenuity. Simple, but effective. With coins in place, Cruise floated steady, arms outstretched, never touching the floor. The shot became a classic, and the pound coins became a secret weapon in Hollywood stunt lore. Sometimes, the difference between disaster and movie magic is just a handful of loose change. In 1996, stories about Tom Cruise's off-screen heroics started making the rounds in the press. One account described him witnessing a hit-and-run accident in Los Angeles, driving the injured woman to the emergency room and quietly paying her entire hospital bill. Later that same year, while vacationing off the coast of Capri, Italy, Cruise was credited with helping evacuate passengers from a burning yacht, assisting with first aid and rescue calls until help arrived. News outlets at the time, including entertainment magazines and gossip columns, praised his quick thinking and generosity, calling him a real-life action hero. Whether every detail can be confirmed or not, these stories became part of Cruise's public legend, showing a side of him that goes beyond movie stunts, one defined by compassion and a willingness to help strangers in need. Every December, Doan's Bakery in Los Angeles gears up for a very special order. Dozens of white chocolate coconut bundt cakes, all headed out with Tom Cruise's name on the shipping label. Cruise has made this his signature holiday move, sending the cakes to friends, co-stars, and late-night hosts. Angela Bassett calls it the best cake she has ever had. James Corden, who has received one, says Cruise has never actually tried the cake himself, a running joke among recipients. Doan's Bakery confirms the annual tradition, and every year Hollywood inboxes fill with coconut and white chocolate, courtesy of Tom Cruise. October 6th, 2006 became an official day of celebration in Japan. Not for a local hero, but for Tom Cruise. The Japan Anniversary Association registered Tom Cruise Day to honor his extraordinary popularity and frequent visits, a distinction rarely given to foreign celebrities. The roots of this recognition trace back to The Last Samurai, which earned more at the Japanese box office than it did in the United States. Cruz's connection with Japanese fans runs deep, with media outlets highlighting his record-setting number of press tours and red carpet appearances. Every year, Japanese entertainment news marks the date, reminding everyone just how far global fandom can go when a Hollywood star truly resonates overseas. During production of The Last Samurai, a sword fight rehearsal nearly turned fatal. Tom Cruise, mounted on a mechanical horse, was supposed to face down co-star Hiroyuki Sanada in a carefully choreographed duel. When the horse suddenly malfunctioned, it thrust Cruise forward, straight into the path of Sanada's real samurai sword. The blade stopped just 1 inch from Cruise's neck. For a split second, the set froze. Sanada later told The Hollywood Reporter, "I genuinely thought I'd killed him." Crew members screamed, convinced they were about to witness a tragedy. Cruise stayed calm, barely flinching, even as the sword hovered dangerously close. Stunt coordinators and safety teams rushed in, shaken by how quickly a routine scene had escalated. Afterward, the production tightened safety checks and increased rehearsal time for every stunt, setting a new bar for risk management on Cruise's future films. The incident became a sobering reminder, even with Hollywood's best precautions, real danger can arrive in a heartbeat. In 1981, Ray-Ban Wayfarer sunglasses were on the verge of disappearing from store shelves. Sales had crashed to just 18,000 pairs that year, and the brand was preparing to quietly retire its classic frames. Then, Tom Cruise slid across the floor in risky business wearing a pair, and everything changed. The film's release in 1983 sent Wayfarer sales soaring to 360,000 units, an explosion of over 2,000%. Cruise's on-screen style did not just stop there. By the late 1980s, annual sales for Wayfarers hit between 3 and 4 million pairs. Ray-Ban's parent company, Bausch & Lomb, credited this turnaround to Cruise's influence, with PR director Norman Saliq stating, "Cruise just likes our products." The sunglasses became a pop culture staple, showing how one actor's fashion choice could rescue a brand from near extinction and turn it into an icon. Tom Cruise stands out among Hollywood's biggest stars for a reason few people expect. He refuses to let his face become an action figure or a video game avatar. While studios have pitched Mission Impossible toys, Top Gun collectibles, and digital tie-ins for years, Cruise's team always declines. Licensing executives and industry insiders say he is extremely selective about how his image is used, turning down every offer for official merchandise. The result is there are no authorized Tom Cruise action figures, just stylized, generic characters for video games and toys with features tweaked to avoid any direct resemblance. Even the Mission Impossible games sidestep his likeness, opting for anonymous agents instead of an Ethan Hunt that looks like Cruise. The choice favors anonymous characters rather than a direct copy. This level of brand control is almost unheard of for an A-list action star. For legal clarity, studios often include a disclaimer that Cruise's likeness is not licensed or endorsed, so check legal clearance before using any lookalike. In a world obsessed with collectibles, Tom Cruise remains the rare blockbuster hero who keeps his image strictly off the shelf. 3 marriages, 3 ex-wives, and a single strange number. 33. Mimi Rogers filed for divorce from Tom Cruise just after her 33rd birthday in early 1990. Nicole Kidman and Cruise announced their split in February 2001, when Kidman was also 33. More than a decade later, Katie Holmes filed for divorce in June 2012, again at age 33. Public records and celebrity biographies confirm the pattern down to the month. Statisticians have crunched the numbers and estimate the odds of 3 independent marriages ending at the same age are about 1 in 17,000. Entertainment reporters call it eerie, but there is no evidence of numerology, Scientology, or secret Hollywood rituals behind the scenes. Divorce lawyers and psychologists point out that the early 30s are a common breaking point for high-profile couples. Still, with all the variables in play, the 33 Rule stands out as one of Hollywood's most eyebrow-raising coincidences. Aladdin did not always look like the charming hero audiences know today. Early sketches showed a scrappy, round-faced teenager modeled after Michael J. Fox. But in the middle of production, Disney executives decided he needed more charisma, something closer to a romantic lead. Animator Glenn Keane says Jeffrey Katzenberg, then head of Disney, told the team to think Top Gun instead of Back to the Future. That meant one thing: Tom Cruise. Animators began studying Tom Cruise's features: his strong, angular jaw, the signature arched eyebrows, and that confident, mischievous smile. They widened Aladdin's shoulders, sharpened his jawline, and gave him tousled hair that looked straight out of an 80s movie poster. The final character moves with the same cocky energy Cruise brought to Maverick. Animation Magazine and the Los Angeles Times both report that side-by-side comparisons of Cruise's Top Gun era and Aladdin's final design are almost uncanny. It is one of the most surprising celebrity crossovers in animation history. The street rat from Agrabah owes his look to Hollywood's ultimate leading man. Next time someone says Aladdin is just a cartoon, ask them, are you sure you are not seeing Tom Cruise in disguise? Across all 10 facts, one pattern stands out. Tom Cruise's life is driven by extremes of risk, control, and public fascination. His quirks aren't just tabloid fodder. They fuel a legend that is constantly rewritten. In Hollywood, real-life oddities can be stranger and more compelling than fiction. Which fact surprised you most